Okay, so we say data is resistant or a measurement is resistant if extreme values, be it very large or small, don't really do much. Then we get to say that the measure that we used is a resistant measure. And it turns out the mean is a huge problem. The mean is easily swayed by extreme data of any kind. So here's kind of three graphs that kind of illustrate this. When the mean and median are really close together, graphically we would indicate that with a fairly symmetrical graph, a bell-shaped curve. But the mean, notice the mean is influenced heavily by the skewness of the graph. So if it's a left skewed graph, then the mean gets pulled in the direction of the skewness. If it's a right skewed graph, it gets pulled in the direction of that skewness. So when you're looking at skewed graph, if you want to talk about averages, then you kind of have to stop and think about whether the mean is relevant at all as far as what the average representation would be. Okay, so we're going to do a little experiment here. Not necessarily an experiment, but we're going to calculate the mean and median of this data, and then we're going to sketch a histogram of it and just compare, does our understanding of mean and median match with what the histogram tells us. So we're going to go to Stat Edit, and again, you can either clear the list from the previous screen or just hit clear and arrow down. And the first task is to type in all of these numbers. So let me give you a few minutes to do that. Oops, as I mess up the first one. All right, so I'm going to type in all these numbers, and we'll join back up in a few seconds. Okay, so I got all my numbers typed in. So there should be 32 of them, if you want to just double check that. And let's go calculate the mean and median first. So let's go back to the home. So second quit, and then we want to go to second stat or open up the list. And then under math, we want the mean of list 1. So second list again. We want the mean of list 1, and we want the median of list 1. So go back over to math, find the median. Actually, we can hotkey this. So there is a L1 above the 1 if you want to hit second blue. All right, and what do we notice? We notice that the mean and median are pretty different there, 148,000 versus 168, and the mean is higher than the median. So that tells us that the mean is pulled in the direction of the skewness. So it's got to be a right skewed graph of some kind. So we're going to go to stat plot, and let's see, we got our plot on. So I believe if we go to zoom, I'm a little nervous about the size of the numbers. Sometimes calculators freak out about that, but let's see. So it's stat zoom, and yeah, that's pretty straightforward. That's a right skewed graph. So yeah, hopefully you got the same graph as me. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the mode. The mode kind of isn't used that much, but we do have a definition for it. The mode would be the most frequent observation. Data can have no mode at all. It could have a bunch of modes. Doesn't really give us an indicator as far as what the average value is, but it is an interesting feature. Okay, so hopefully at this point, this is all the information you should have gotten over this section. So just take a second and compare your notes to mine and just make sure that they match.